Everybody, this is a bit different, isn't it? Can't say I've often been live from a train before. We're parked. There's been connectivity in and out kind of along this train ride journey, which is kind of cool. Lets us stay connected, but the cellular connection goes all over the place. Sometimes, there will be a big tunnel and you don't have any connection. Other times you'll be in the middle of a city and you'll have like 5 bars or 4 bars all the time. Really, really strong signal. So because it's in and out, I wasn't sure if I wanted to live stream as the train was in motion. Also, it kind of shakes and bumps up and down a lot, but we're parked right now. Um, I don't even know the name of the city. Basically, we're in the Eastern time zone. I'll just leave it at that in case there's people watching from out there that are trying to track me down. No, thank you. Don't do that. But we are on the East Coast now, and we're parked at a train station for I believe an hour and a half or so, and the signal is really strong here. We're not on Starlink, no. We're far away from Starlink now. But I just figured because the signal is good and because we're parked and we're going to be waiting for a while, why not just catch up with you guys? Oh, Rockford Media super chatted. Thank you. He says, where are we heading? So if all goes according to plan, we should eventually end up near New York City, which I'm excited to see. We just got back from Chicago. And of course, all of the vlogs and videos and stuff is going to be up on Tailosive Talks later for our journey. But I just wanted to appreciate the fact that even though we've been on a train that's often moving 70, 80 miles an hour, Mint Mobile has been working pretty dang reliably along the way. Obviously, there are certain places that don't have internet connection, but it's not they're not areas where Verizon and AT&T are either. It's just like completely gone. Very spontaneous, I know. It is snowing in New York. It was snowing in Chicago as well. It's pretty freaking cold for someone like me who's used to the warmer West Coast weather. Oh my God, that was hard to adjust to. Your hair is perfectly rounding around the thing. Yeah, just barely. But I'm on the top bunk right now, so we do have windows we can look out of. Um, Although we thought about like exploring outside the train, but it doesn't seem like there's much happening around this part of town. So um, I was checking up with people on the Discord and they're asking for what's it called? Customer support about how to return their Apple Watch for, through their financing program, which is probably not the way to do it. But yeah, this is for those of you curious why we're being so spontaneous with travel. This was one of our goals for 2022. We wanted to spend more time traveling and seeing more of the world, and this was a bit of a spontaneous trip that was mostly because of my wife's my father-in-law, and he said that he had done this train ride before and he wanted us to join him, and it's been a ton of fun so far. We've been enjoying it, and thankfully I think this was a good time for me to space out the tech videos. There still are 2 tech videos I believe scheduled to come out this week. So they'll be back, it'll be like at the old set, so I'm not filming tech vids on the go. But it seemed like a good time to take a break just because there hasn't been a crazy amount of tech news as of late, especially surrounding Apple. It's like, hey, they're providing raises to some of their employees. Okay, kind of cool. I have visited the Philippines. I have a vlog on that over on Tailosive Talks, which was fun. Yeah, new environments, new experiences. That's another reason I'm grateful I got the iPhone 13 Pro Max, because the battery life on this thing is killer, which is really, really helpful on travels like this. Yes, we are traveling through Amtrak. That's correct. Oh yeah, the Galaxy S22 came out while I was away. Nothing groundbreaking or that interesting about it.
Once again, this
Whoa.
is train 48 continuing service to New York. Penn
They've got
Station,
announces.
which remaining station stops at Poughkeepsie, Croton Harmon, final destination New York Penn Station. Margin
Got
out
it.
of Albany Rensselaer here is 410. We're going to be boarding a lot of people here today at Albany.
Oh, they're
Please
boarding.
make all seats available.
We have our own
We're
seats.
going to have a full house.
It's going to be a full
Anyone
house, I guess.
utilizing the seat for any personal belongings, please utilize the overhead luggage bags.
Let's see when he's done.
We need all seats to be made available.
Okay, what it's like after the lockdowns. Basically wearing a lot of masks and being vaccinated, of course. Oh yeah, the train has windows. I apologize. I wish I could get rid of them. This train needs Mac OS, but
And also, as a reminder,
oh my
at
God.
all times while on board, you must be wearing a face mask covering both your nose and mouth, regardless of vaccination status.
You still got to wear the mask unless you're in a roomette. You just got to lock the door. They say that literally like 12 times a day. You can never forget it. You're good if you're locked in your cabin, though. If you have the door closed, you're fine. You can work anywhere if you wanted, which is awesome. That's why we got the MacBook, is so that we can do work on the go if need be. Luckily, I don't live here, so I can't get doxxed. Don't worry about that. You need a pass to get on the train anyway, so last minute, last minute chance to hop on the train, I guess. You don't know which car or whatever. Watching since the Green Moon. Do you remember when you had a person named Google Assistant in your chats? Yeah, some people have named themselves that or Siri, but what I was saying earlier was the reason I'm glad I have the 13 Pro Max is because the battery life doesn't do very well when you're traveling on a train because there's a lot of cutting in and out of service. So because of that, when you're in a no service area, your phone is constantly looking for towers. It's looking for cellular networks. And the main solution for that when you're traveling through an airport and stuff is to turn on airplane mode, because when you turn on airplane mode, it just stops looking for those other networks and it preserves your battery life, and it actually can last really, really long without cellular, because that's actually one of the biggest driving reasons your phone battery will go down. However, when you're on a train, airplane mode doesn't really work that well because you're just going to continue to not have service until you turn it off. So I guess you could turn it on for a while and then occasionally turn it off and check to see if there's more networks. But because the train's constantly moving and coming into busy areas that have cellular and going into, rural areas that don't have very good cellular, there's not really a point in messing around with airplane mode. Otherwise, you'll just never know when the internet connection comes back. So the solution is for you to leave airplane mode off because you're on a train. There's no train mode, and you essentially just have to keep checking your phone until you have service again. I actually think Starlink would be a perfect application for trains because they spend majority of the time outside. There's occasional, like in Chicago, there's like a train station that goes underneath part of the town, so Starlink wouldn't work there. Also, there's been, like when we went through the Rockies, there's places where the train goes through a bridge or a tunnel, and when it's under a mountain and it's going through a tunnel, Starlink wouldn't work there. But for the vast majority of circumstances, it would have line of sight with the sky, and the Wi-Fi would be decent. It probably wouldn't be very stable for live streaming, but if you were streaming YouTube or streaming Netflix or watching content, if people wanted to work on the go, the time you spend in the tunnels is not that long. So there would be brief cutouts, but you could be in the middle of nowhere. You could be driving through Utah or the desert on the train, and you would still have a solid connection. So I haven't seen if Starlink has shown much interest in bringing internet to trains, but I think that would be a really useful application because it's so much fun. I've never ridden a train like this before, and you just get to see so much more. It takes a lot longer than flying, but you get to see so much. My eyes have been glued to the window whenever we're traveling. Out here, it's a bit more boring. It's just a lot of trees and snow, but especially out in Colorado and Utah, it was just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. S22 did not interest me at all. If you haven't noticed, over the past few years, I've kind of talked and spoken less on Android phones in general, just because I found them. And to be fair, Apple's not innocent of this either, but very iterative design changes and very small updates year over year. It's just like, okay, this gets a little bit better. Okay, this camera gets slightly improved. And so I wasn't really planning on talking much about it. And even if I wasn't on this trip, even if I was just at home, maybe I would have done a video on it. But yeah, nothing quite like mind-blowing or breaking news type of thing. I've definitely pivoted myself mostly as an Apple channel, so because of that, nothing wowed me about it from what I've read. I've had internet, I would say, like 50% of this trip, so I've been kept up to date with everything they've announced surrounding it, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of what I thought. It's interesting that they're kind of merging the Note and the Ultra into one product. I think everyone saw that coming, but yeah, still not doing it. Seems like a lot of people are concerned about the battery life on the S22. Oh, another super chat. Thank you, Rockford. He says, I took an Amtrak to Boston from New York and back a few times in first class, and even with larger seat tables thing, it was annoying to use my new 16-inch MacBook Pro. Oh, yeah. I haven't taken my MacBook out much, but they have to make good use of their space because you don't have much on the inside. But it's definitely more comfortable than flying, that's for sure. let's see, who else forgot it's Valentine's Day tomorrow? I did not forget because we're going to be celebrating it in the big city, which is exciting. Actually, the lack of because of the lack of internet connection, there's no Wi-Fi on the train. Um, I haven't used my MacBook Pro much at all. It's pretty much I brought it with me because I wasn't sure if I was going to need to use it later, but I don't think I've opened it yet. So I'm sure the battery life's been great. I used it a lot more. Um, I've used it a lot more on our trip to Puerto Rico, where I was doing full videos and stuff. But this trip, we're moving so much, I don't think the audio would have worked while the train was in motion, or at least it would have been kind of crappy. Also, I wouldn't know when I'd be able to upload again. So, strongly would recommend keeping it that way, as Samsung has been removing features and adding features since the S20 line, I think, around here. It's funny to me how quickly Samsung will bash someone else when they do a controversial decision, and then Samsung will just follow through with it the following year. I remember Samsung making some tweet about like, um, I think they said something like, imagine having a notch in 2020, and then they just revealed some laptops they made that is got notches on it. So it's like they mock other people, but whatever. Thank you, Treehouse, for your support. If only there was some kind of Apple keynote streaming right now, you could then literally be on a hype train. Yeah, that's true. All aboard the hype train. I don't know when we depart. I actually wasn't aware that we were going to be stopped at this station for so long. And I thought about going outside and exploring the city, but I stepped out. It's very cold, and there's not that much to see by the looks of it. At least nothing nearby. And we had a little bit of time, so I was like, you know what? If the internet's good, haven't done a tech stream in a little bit, so I might as well do one now. Amir says he works on trains in the UK, so weird to see you on a train setting. By the way, I really think the upgrade is minimal on the S22 line, yet everyone seems to be over the moon. Yeah, I think the tech community definitely is struggling as a whole. It's not just one channel, but it's like everyone wants to get excited for the flagship Galaxy phone because this is like kind of the spearhead of the entire Android market, but there's so little changes they can do year over year. It's kind of difficult to get pumped about it. Um, can I get a Baba Booey? Yes, Jason. Baba Booey. Samsung had a whole ad making fun of iPhone 12, not including the power adapter. The next Galaxy didn't include a power adapter. I know. When will Apple make a train? That's the real question. All aboard the hype train. That's the way it works. But the ironic thing is, because I'm streaming off my phone, this is probably going to be more stable than when I streamed off of Starlink. Hello, Lord Zero. Thank you for joining. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is kind of cool. I think I can try to keep live streaming once the train goes in motion, but I won't have a guarantee of how long I will maintain a connection. So if the train starts moving, I might start cutting out because it's very hard to predict. Sometimes I have solid internet, sometimes it goes away entirely, so the stream might cut out a bunch. Does the X come with a fast charger? Can I still use these headphones with the X? A double dongle, the notch covers up a good portion of the screen. Samsung and Genius heads. I wish they would just hold off on that. Their marketing department definitely is not communicating with their R&D department. Apple training. Nicola should make a Kai OS feature phone with a QWERTY keyboard. No. Oh, Nokia. I see. The only exciting part of the S22 Ultra is that it's a Note instead. Yeah, but that also feels like overdue, right? Because we never got a Note phone last year. Thank you for the super chat. It's from Matt. It says, are you going to go to the top of the Freedom Tower, World Trade Center? I went to the top for the first time a few weeks ago, even though I lived in NYC off and on for all my life. It was awesome. I'm really excited to see all that architecture because I remember following the construction of the One World Trade Center. It was really cool seeing the Willis Tower up close. I've only seen the Willis Tower in Chicago from like airplanes and airports, and now in Chicago, we got to like walk right up next to it. We have a pretty packed schedule already. We're like meeting up with some family friends and going to be seeing a couple sites. I don't know about the One World Trade Center, probably Empire State, but yeah, we'll see as much as we can do. I know that as soon as we tell, Tailosive Talks, or I post the vlog over there about like touring New York City, everyone's going to tell me, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. And it's like, I'm sure that you cannot do the whole city in a day, but this is not like the last time I'll be there. This was kind of a spontaneous trip, so everything's moving kind of quickly. so we can't see everything, but we'll see what we can in a time effective manner. What pizza places are you going to? There's only so much pizza. We didn't even finish. Is it down there somewhere? We didn't even finish the pizza we got in Chicago. We got deep dish, um, which was cool because I'd never had deep dish before. However, incredibly filling, and we got the smallest possible one we could because there's just the three of us, and we still didn't finish it because there was so much. It's very thick, obviously, which makes it so we have an extra piece somewhere that I've got to eat at some point, but I don't have it. Um, let's see. I'm not taking the train back. If you're coming back through Denver, you should come by my family's restaurant. It's close to Union Station. We went through Denver actually, so we were pretty nearby. But oh, thank you. Oh wow, Ben Rader upgraded membership to moderator access. Oh my God, congratulations, Ben. You are now a moderator. Thank you for doing that. By the way, that's not cheap. I think Ben Rayner is the first person to do that. He waited till I was a train to do that. That's kind of cool. Obviously, don't abuse your moderator privileges. You could lose your mod access if you do, but thank you for your support. Will you go to the famous Apple store? It depends. Which one? Isn't there several famous ones in New York? I don't know if you need an appointment to get in there. I've heard great things about it, but I don't. I kind of have all this stuff from Apple I'm interested in, so I don't know if, with our limited time in New York, if I want to go straight to the Apple store and just see all the stuff I already have. Um, Sounds like Ben gets a personal text now. No, he doesn't, but I appreciate the support. It is worth going to the sites if possible. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We went through Denver. The issue is on the train. As fun as it is, you don't have very long to stop in most places. This is rare. Like we're stopping in. I keep blanking on the name. We're stopping at this city for like an hour or so, but most of the time you stop for maybe like 2 minutes. So we did pass through Denver, but we were only there for like a couple minutes and then gone. You can't like get off the train and go hang out in the city for a while. It's not like the train sits there waiting for you all day. The only reason we got to spend some time in Chicago was because that's when we were switching trains. So we were going from a train that takes you basically from the Bay Area to Chicago, and then you have to get on a different train to get to New York City. And we had like I think 6 hours between that train arriving and this train leaving, so we had some time to kill, and we walked around the city for a little bit. But I was such a baby about it because I'm not good with the cold weather. So we walked around the city and saw a couple of things that I liked. The chrome bean was probably one of the more iconic things from Chicago that I wanted to check out. However, one thing that I realized after we left Chicago that I really wanted to see, but I forgot about while we were there, is there's this like office experience location because I'm a big fan of The Office, and I wanted to check out what that place was like. But I think it costed something like $40 a ticket. So if me and my wife went, it would have been $80, and eh, it's cool, but we were limited on time anyway, so maybe next time I'll try that. Um, yes, you can buy moderator access, but I will remove it. Oh wow, Max did it too. Oh no. Thank you, Max, for the support. But if you abuse it, I'll have no problem removing it. So it's very easy for me to remove moderators, trust me. So please don't just start randomly blocking people or banning people. Did you go visit the Apple store by the river? I did not. I know people probably expect me to go to Apple stores all the time, but I've actually probably just from buying all of the Apple gadgets I'm interested in and reviewing them and spending so much time with them, I've lost a lot of interest in going to Apple stores that much. Thank you, Max Howard, for becoming a moderator. That's really nice of you. Um, yeah, how long does the train ride take from NorCal to New York? Um, it depends on schedules and how they align. Um, I guess. What would you say, honey? Is it like 3 or 4 days? Okay, 3 or 4 days on average, probably, because you can also get delayed. The trains are not on a super strict schedule. Um, yeah, this trip I would say is definitely more about the journey than the destination. We're not like going to New York City for any particular reason. It was more so just like um, we wanted to check out Oh, you've been thinking about it for a while. Okay, cool. I was just wondering what the chat is talking about. But being on a train is far different from being in a car or being on a plane, because you get to see so much of what's going by, but there's also like these beds that unfold, and you can sleep on them as the train's in motion, and there's no seatbelts, and there's a dining car, so you can eat on the train, and they have food that's prepared for you, and it's like a sit down little diner and stuff like that. So um, yeah, it's like fun to just be on the train. It's not necessarily about like, oh, we spend as much time in this city as possible. It's just like seeing America outside a hotel window. It's like a hotel on wheels, essentially. They even have a shower on the train, which works pretty well, although it's a little sketchy because the drainage goes like straight beneath the floor of the train, which is pretty weird. Um, the longest train ride you can do in Israel is like 3.5, 4 hours max. Wow. Um, California Zephyr, Bay Area to Chicago is like the prettiest train views in the continental U.S. I would definitely have to agree with that. It was fantastic views. I got lots of good video. I've been recording a ton of video on my phone. Actually, riding on the train is probably the closest I've gotten to killing my iPhone 13 Pro Max battery in a single day. Normally, it's near impossible to kill this phone, but with all the service changing when you're moving this quickly. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to tell you guys about, was the notifications for Find My. The thing is, obviously, we have all of our equipment in our gear in here, and there's what you call it, my AirPods Pro, and they're optimized for Find My with my phone. So the AirPods Pro don't have GPS themselves on them, but when you get up and walk to the dining car on the train, you get a notification that says you left your AirPods Pro behind, because the train is in motion, and you're going sometimes 70 miles an hour or so, and the phone doesn't realize that the AirPods are on a train. It doesn't even realize you're on a train. The phone just thinks, oh, AirPods Pro are no longer detected by your phone. They were last detected when you were on this one city, which you were in 5 minutes ago, because the train's moving. But it's giving me those notifications like, AirPods Pro have been left behind. This is time sensitive. Careful, you've left your AirPods. And they're just in the room back here, but we're in the dining car, and it keeps pinging me over and over again. Where are your AirPods? They're left behind. And I'm like, it's fine. So there's definitely not really software optimized for this kind of train travel, which is interesting. Another super chat, thank you. He says, trips that happen randomly are the best. They are kind of fun. They are kind of spontaneous. Like I've been saying this a lot over the course of the trip, because we've been to Chicago, and we've been seeing these beautiful mountains in the Rockies, and going through Utah and seeing all these plateaus and stuff. And I keep thinking, I did not think I was going to be here a week ago, because we did not realize this trip was going to sneak up on us. And my father-in-law was just going to be like, hey, join me on this trip. And we were like, let's look at our schedules. I think we can do it. So the one compromise that I'll have to apologize for, that there was one consequence of going on this trip, is that I was not able to make the Tailosive Tech podcast or EV podcast this week, which was a bit of a bummer. Mike and Randy, I think, tried to do one, and had technical difficulties. So sorry for no podcasts right after the podcast return. But if we can reschedule next week's show, I think we should be back next week, so I hope so. Charlie, thank you for your support. Space Gray or Silver MacBook? Serious question. Originally, sorry, I think the AC is kicking on. I hope that doesn't completely break the audio. Originally, I would have recommended Silver, because that's what we were going to buy. But after having Space Gray for a while, it looks pretty freaking sweet anyway. So I'm happy with Space Gray, but Silver's pretty dope. If I had to pick one, Space Gray's overrated. Fine, I'll say Silver if you had to pick one. AirPods Pro Find My feature is not accurate at all. It's better snap of an AirTag to it. Yeah, that's true.
We will now be boarding our Albany passengers.
People are boarding.
Make all seats available.
I'm staying on here. Ben is asking, did I sleep on the train? Yes, of course. we don't leave the train very much, so if you couldn't sleep on it, that would be quite an issue. But there are several states that we just completely slept through, which was kind of funny. Like, we were like, oh, we're gonna go through here, and it turned out that like we went through the entire state. Like, I think we went through Nebraska and Pennsylvania and Ohio? Ohio? Oh, in Indiana. We went through all of those states completely asleep. We were not awake at all as we were in them. So we woke up and we were like, oh, we missed it. But it was dark out, so you couldn't really see much anyway. Thank you for the super chat, Matt. He says, how many days before the trip did you buy the tickets? I want to say, like, what was it, 5 days before we left? Like, how many days before the trip did we buy the tickets? 4 days. 4 days prior. It was pretty last minute. Oh, a super chat from Christian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He says, I'm buying a yacht to sightsee all over the world. iOS dev money. Have a good trip. Do you want to be friends? Can we can we see the yacht? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. Turn on voice isolation and control center. I don't think that's going to work through YouTube, but that would be cool. AC is noisy, but not terrible. I wish they would turn it off. That's one thing I have to criticize this room for, is that the AC system is basically just always on. You can kind of adjust the temperature, but not much. Yeah, it was for those curious, it was my father-in-law was visiting us for my wife's birthday, which was last week. And he kind of just surprised us with like, hey, I'm going on this cross-country trip with Amtrak. Do you want to join me? And I was like, I think we can do it. The train is not moving yet, but if the AC is kicking on and boarding has started, we're probably going to start moving in a little bit. So I apologize if we start moving and I lose connection. Not sure how the connection will be as we're in motion, because I've never been here before. This is all new territory. AirPods Pro coming probably on September 2022. I hope you're right about that, because I'm debating whether or not a new pair is needed, but I'm hoping my current AirPods Pro keep lasting me. If they start having battery issues, it's going to be a tough call. Big decision coming up. Was wondering, has anyone actually spent the $20 a month and then abused it and immediately lost it? Like, I feel like that's a lot of money just to screw around for like 5 minutes. It's true. How do you block someone IRL? There's actually a Black Mirror episode about that. It's kind of interesting. I don't know how you block someone IRL, but there's good shows about it. Yeah, it was spontaneous. I like how everyone says that the new SE3 is going to have 5G and a new chip, but no one is saying it's going to have a U1 chip. It amuses me and annoys me. If no one's saying it, it's probably not going to happen. I'm expecting this iPhone SE3 to be as boring as possible, because they're literally putting in like as much. Oh, you pretend they don't exist. That's a good answer, Jason. They're basically putting in as little effort as possible on this iPhone upgrade, just so they can say that there's a 5G iPhone that's $400, but that's it. They're not talking about it at all. That one is not called Nosedive, although that's also a really good episode. What's your thoughts on the VR iOS leak? It's not new. It's kind of surprising me that people are forgetting that there already was references in the past to a VR or AR headset within iOS code. I remember reading about that like several years ago. Now it's resurfaced again, so people are like, haha, see, it's happening. And it's like, I don't think that's a guarantee. I don't think that's necessarily a definite, this is absolutely going to happen type thing. Let's see. I definitely need to get new AirPods. Mine have been sent to Apple twice and are still having issues. Oof. I know. I wish there was some kind of long-term solution we could think of for AirPods longevity. That's one of the reasons I'm still really frustrated about AirPods Max, is because I want to buy a pair of Apple headphones with a really solid ANC and the really good transparency mode, but also have a battery life that's really long so that the batteries don't degrade after like 3 years and you start getting one that's quieter than the other. I assume because AirPods Max have a much larger battery and they're both probably powered off of the same, combined battery chemistry. I was really, really hoping that we could get one with USB-C or at least some kind of portless or wireless charging, because I don't want to live with Lightning and I don't like the case. I really don't like the stupid smart case. But Matthew Super Chatted, he says, any foldable ideas yet? Foldable ideas? I'm trying to think what you mean by that. I mean, I've seen the way foldables have been done by Samsung and Oppo and stuff, and I think that that's probably the best possible form factor you can do with folding, is like the Z Fold 3 or the Oppo Find N or whatever it's called. But I've also used the iPad Mini. iPad Mini 6 fits in my pocket, and it's a much bigger screen than you can get on any foldable. It's pretty sweet. So knowing that's the thing, I would almost then rather just make like a freaking 8.3-inch iPhone that's cellular and supports Apple Watch connectivity and has USB-C and has really solid cameras on the back. Just make a giant phone if you want a big screen that fits in your pocket. I don't think we need to go all overkill with engineering on hinges and displays that are made of plastic that you gotta fold and they have a crease and all that garbage. No, can't we just make big phones and just say, no, just get a bigger pocket. If you want a bigger phone, get some pants with big pockets. It might be a little bit hard to find them at first, but I think it's going to be way cheaper than trying to engineer a device that folds in half. That's going to be far more expensive. Just bigger pants, underrated. We don't need foldables, we need bigger pants that can accommodate, because I could fit my iPad mini 6 in my jeans pocket. It was a little bulky, but it worked. And I thought it was great because it was fantastic at the split screen multitasking stuff, and you could type in landscape with just your thumbs really, really quickly. It was awesome. Another super chat from Rockford. He says, I'd love to go on a trip like that. I just don't have the time to do that. The most a travel day during school can take us 6 hours. I may do the trip summer break. I'm going to eat lunch now. Enjoy. Thank you so much for all your super chats. It's partly because my wife's schedule is a lot more flexible this year, and we're excited to be able to take big trips like the Puerto Rico trip we just did. And I was glad that the tech video backgrounds got to be mixed up a little bit. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to stream on this trip at all, so I'm glad that this one seems to be working so far. We'll see what happens when the train starts moving, but yeah, I will get a billboard that just says, foldables are not the answer. America needs bigger pants. For several reasons. I was going to say bigger pockets, but yeah. Andre, thank you for your support. He says, what's your opinion on the S22? It's very lukewarm. It's very okay. That's kind of what I expect from Samsung at this point, is just yeah, it sounds like pretty good hardware. Of course, it's kind of disappointing when they scale back things in a couple directions, but I'm not super I'm not super in the market for that. I'm not going to pretend to be excited or interested in it. So I'll just be honest with you and say I'm not that interested. It looks very similar to last year's, and the changes look fairly incremental. And just to be fair, even though I'm the Apple sheep, I'm going to be fair about this and say Apple's guilty of this too. I'm not planning on upgrading to the iPhone 14 this year. I'll review it. I'll buy one and do some videos on it for the channel, but I'm not going to permanently move my SIM card to it. The 13 Pro Max, with all the video I've taken on this trip and the fact that I can live stream with it on the go, and the great battery life it offers, I don't need to replace this iPhone this year. It could stay in my pocket as my daily driver for another year, probably another 2 or 3 years, because I don't think smartphones have enough features to get excited for or update things frequently. I used to buy iPhones every year because I was excited for even all the techie changes. Now I'm not even excited for the techie changes because they're so incremental. Once I got 120 hertz, I was like, done. I don't need anything else. I'm good. Joey says, the Ultra was the biggest change they made. The S22 and S22 Plus were barely touched. That's what it looked like to me. The Ultra was something that we talked about, I feel like years ago. I remember us making videos about how they were going to ditch the Note line and just have a high-end option in the S lineup that had a stylus for people who really want the stylus. Congratulations, I guess. I don't know. How do the Note fans feel about this? Are the Note fans disappointed that they don't have a phone branded as a Note anymore? Or are they happy that they just got an update with a stylus phone at all? Because personally, I don't actually know that many people in my life that actually want a stylus that is embedded into their phone. Aiken says, as a tech nerd of the house, after spending my hard-earned dollars to buy several wireless chargers and place them at every possible location in the house, I've successfully, forcefully transitioned my family to complete wireless charging. Oh my God, you must be fun at dinner. Mom, you must charge with this one. Why can't I use my old charger, Aiken? I don't care. Use the new one. Yeah, that sounds like fun. I do like wireless charging, though. I might have done something wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but I haven't been able to charge my phone with the Lightning port recently. I don't know what I did, or if it's just a software issue. I am on beta software. I don't know if that's part of the problem, but luckily, I do most of the time charge my phone via MagSafe. But of course, actually on this train, there's 4 outlets in here. On the last train, there was only one. So we had one outlet. So my wife charges her phone with the lightning cable because she has a pop socket on the back, so wireless charging doesn't work for her phone. But I just needed to charge mine up because I'd been using it all day. And of course, the no service on service. And I was like, wow, 13 Pro Max battery's getting low. So I just plugged in the lightning cable to my phone. And at first it worked. It worked for about 20 minutes. And then I unplugged and we went to dinner. And when I came back from dinner, I plugged in again, won't charge. So I don't know if I fried my lightning port or something, but that's okay because it's lightning and I don't want to use it anyway. So there was an option to surgically remove the lightning port from my phone and just seal it in with steel so it was portless. I could live with that. I don't use the lightning port really for anything. AirDrop is fine. Let's see. How's your iPhone storage with all this video for this kind of travel? Is it 128 or 256? So I got 256 gigs originally just because I wanted to mess around with the 4K ProRes feature, which wasn't an option on 128 gig. And now that I've had it for a while and I've recorded so much video, I'm actually grateful I got it because I was coming up on like 200 gigs and I'm surpassing 200 gigs. And I'm not filming at ProRes, by the way. I am filming at 4K at 60, but it's all non-HDR. It's not Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision sucks. I've tried it. It looks terrible. But it's just a high efficiency video codec. And because there's been so many great sites and so many great things to video, I've been using up a ton of storage on my phone. So at the end of the day, I'm actually kind of grateful I got 256 gig, also because I'm trying to scale back my iCloud storage. I already went from 2 terabytes to 200 gigs, and I'm filling up 200 gigs, so I need to get more stuff local storage. So I'm not using iCloud photos or videos right now. Now you realize local storage is necessary. Well, I wouldn't say my use case is common, though. I'm recording a crap ton of 4K at 60 video. I don't think most people do that. Most people probably record 1080p, 30 FPS, and most people probably don't take spontaneous train rides where they see like the entire United States in a couple days. So I'm recording probably more than the average person and at a higher resolution and frame rate than the average person. So 256 is still plenty. I probably have several hours worth of video on my phone. But a lot of it I could offload or I realized my MacBook Pro is 8 terabytes and I've got a lot of empty space on there. So I should probably just start backing up my phone to that and treating it as its own little server instead of using iCloud. But I'm trying not to use iCloud much at all at this point anyway, but it's all messages. I really, really like using iMessage and iCloud because all of the texting syncs between devices. But in my case, I got the mini, so I couldn't use 4K even if I wanted to, and I'm still using 65 gigs plus. Yeah, before on my 12 mini, I got 128 gig, but I never used more than 60 gigs. So it was kind of pointless for me to opt for that extra storage. I just figured, oh, it's only $50 more. I'll get twice the storage. But in the full 10 months of ownership, it never came close to 64 gigs. Personal experience, ocean water damages lightning port easily. Well, that's good. I hate the lightning port, so we can get rid of it every generation. Have you ever thought about getting a NAS or just a big RAID hard drive? I have. I'm not interested. I know what those require, and my office is already crowded enough. I don't want to stuff it with more computers. I only have 2 outlets in my whole office. So if I had a NAS, first of all, it would cost a lot of money. Second of all, it would take up more space. It would use more energy, and I don't want a big computer with lights taking up more space. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. I'm trying to simplify more and more things. So Adith just joined the stream. I'm taking a cross-country train ride, and I'm streaming over cellular connection through Mint Mobile. So not a sponsor or anything. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm using for my phone service. And I've had really, really good coverage across the country. And there's obviously been a few places where I didn't, which is why I didn't really try to live stream as the train was in motion. But we've been parked here for a little while, and I was told that the train wouldn't be moving for a little bit, and the signal was good. So I was like, hey, I've got some time. Let's do a tech stream just for fun. So this was also an unscheduled stream. Let's see. Did you ever consider going to the iPhone upgrade program before the 13 Pro? No, financially, it just never made much sense to me because you could always get a better deal just selling your old phone a year after and buying a new one unlocked. iPhone upgrade program, you kind of get screwed over in the long term. It's very simple. It's easy to understand for the consumer. Like, oh, okay, I lose a little bit of money each month, and then I get the latest iPhone at all times. But constantly having to trade in your old device is where Apple's probably making the most amount of money off you. Whereas I've had a lot of success just selling my old phone whenever the new phone came out. And iPhones preserve their resale value really, really well. So I've recouped a ton of that cost. Spontaneous train ride across the USA is brought to you by Venmo. It's not, but he asked how I was streaming, so I had to give him an answer. And while it sounds like I'm shilling out, it's the honest truth. Let's see. I got the mini. There was something mentioned earlier. Oh, Mike said, I never use Lightning. It's stupid. Tries charging with Lightning and 13 Pro Max rejects it. It just drew a surprised Pikachu face. I'm actually grateful because now it means I am forced to not use Lightning. And I'm kind of all in favor of that if at all possible. I don't know. It could just be a beta thing because the truth is it did work for like 20 minutes while I was on the train. So I know it's not completely gone. But yeah, it's acting a little weird. But this is another reason I'm kind of grateful for MagSafe and wireless charging is it provides a backup. Like, I'm not a fan of Lightning, but imagine if I were, and all of a sudden, if you like swam in the ocean with your phone or it got damaged by whatever means, the Lightning port, USB-C port, whatever the port is, if there's only one way to charge your phone, then I would be in big trouble if I did not have MagSafe or wireless charging of any kind. All of a sudden, my main device I use for pictures and videos and communication, and even my boarding pass for the train is on my phone. So, like, I would have all these issues if I had no other way to charge it. Luckily, I did have MagSafe, so if something goes wrong with Lightning, there's another method to charge with. Wouldn't that hurt your resale value when you eventually sell it? It probably would, but I'm not planning on selling this phone. Like I've mentioned before, the 13 Pro Max is a phone I'm planning on keeping for several years. I'm not planning on selling it when the 14 comes out because I want this to be my daily driver, and I'm comfortable with it. And it probably even skip the iPhone 15 or 16, depending on how well this ages. My 7 Plus charge port got fried because I plugged in one of those fans they gave me at an airport, so I couldn't charge it. Luckily, Apple fixed it and replaced the battery for free. Oh, well, that's nice. What are your thoughts on the Beats Fits Pro compared to the AirPods Pro? I'd love to give you my thoughts. I just haven't tried them, so I don't know. I need to try them on. Mike says, how many USB-C/USB-A ports are available to you in the train car? I don't see any USB-A. Yeah, they don't have any USB-A. Ooh, trains going by. You can probably hear that. I don't see any USB-A or USB-C ports, but they do have 4 120-volt outlets. So I could charge my MacBook Pro in here if I wanted. The only thing you're not supposed to plug in is a dryer. They said don't use like a hair dryer because that probably just pulls too much power. I wonder how many watts that is, though. Let's see. I answered that. Would you do a USB-C over wireless, or what do you prefer? If wireless is an option, I will typically take that. So because the iPhone supports MagSafe, I will always charge it via MagSafe. But if you are going to have a port, I'm in favor of choose the best port. So I know that even though for me portless would work, it would tick off a bunch of people because everyone has all these different use cases. That's why I'm still in favor of Apple adopting USB-C on the iPhone, not because it would personally benefit me a ton, but I just think that it would be more consistent with the rest of their products if the iPad, Mac, phone were all using Type-C, instead of like half of them use Lightning with AirPods and the Siri remote and the iPhone and the iPod or whatever, and then the iPads and Macs all use USB-C. It's just confusing, and I think it would be simple, not just for techie people, but also the mainstream consumer, if everything was using USB-C instead of this weird mixture of the two. So I'm like, either go portless or go USB-C, and because portless would probably tick off a bunch of people, not to mention also create a ton of e-waste, probably USB-C is the safest route to go. So that's what I recommend Apple do. Chris Norton, thank you for the super chat. I keep my old phone so I can use it as a spare. That's not a bad idea, having a backup phone when you need it. And there's so many noises. Let's see. I don't think the train is moving. No, that's why I'm live streaming, Mark, is because it's not moving. So what you're saying is get a MagSafe battery pack, the MagSafe bracelet pack, necklace pack, and MagSafe headband charging packs. Ankle packs coming soon. MagSafe fanny pack. Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Mark. Exactly. Let's see. If I got my iPhone SE2 in April 2021, what would you say is a good time? What would you say is a good time to upgrade? There's not like an inherent objective answer to that. It's just when your current phone is not covering your daily needs. If the iPhone SE2 battery is just too weak and you want a better one, or I feel like that's the only problem, or you feel like you want a bigger screen or you want a better biometric, then once that time comes around, probably consider an iPhone 11. I don't actually think I'll recommend the SE3 to anyone. I'm trying to think of a good example as to someone that would take advantage of what the SE3 has to offer, and I can't think of one. It's like the biggest problem everyone has with the SE2 is the battery life is not that great. Aside from that, if you're buying an SE2, it's because you're comfortable with a home button, you're comfortable with an LCD 4.7 inch, you're fine with that, then SE3 isn't really going to offer much aside from that. The 5G is just going to eat into your battery life faster. So not worth it. I don't know who to recommend it to. Eddie says, I was so screwed last year in Paris during a video shoot because I didn't bring a wireless charger and my phone did not want to charge for 7 hours. Yikes. See, this is why redundancy is pretty good. If you've got two different ways of charging the phone, you've got a backup when one of them fails. I actually don't know how often wireless charging or MagSafe charging goes wrong. I feel like most of the time I can't. Have there been a lot of instances of MagSafe breaking for people? I feel like that almost always works because it works because it's all internal. It's all just the coils aligning. So the likelihood of those coils getting misaligned or something. Trains are better than flying to you? No. I mean, it's all dependent on what you're trying to do. In my opinion, taking the train is much more about enjoying the journey. Flying is not really a fun journey unless maybe you fly in first class. Some people can afford that, but majority of flying is like getting things over with as soon as possible. You sit in this tiny chair and you sit with all these strangers and you're all in one room, so you got to hear everybody complaining, if there's babies crying and that kind of stuff. A plane is going to be much faster, oftentimes much cheaper than taking a train, but you're probably going to be miserable most of that experience compared to when you're taking a roomette, at least on the train like we are. You've got your own isolated area. You can do a live streams like this. Thank you for the super chat, Chris. He says iPhones are so expensive, SIM free. That's true, but they are yours. You're not bound by some contract. But thank you for the super chat. But on the train, you have a private area. You can sleep. You've got beds that unfold like I have here. I'm sitting on the top bunk of the bed. There's a bottom bunk that my wife is relaxing on right now. And you've got a sink in here. So you don't even have to leave your room to like brush your teeth or get some water or anything. And there's a dining car, so you can eat here, and the food is much better than the kind of food you get on a plane. And on the train ride yesterday or the day before, we got 3 free meals included, of course, with the price of the train ride. So totally different kind of experience. The windows are much bigger than they are on an airplane. On an airplane, you don't really get to see much of these details of the country. You just fly over everything and it's all clouds and tiny window and you're far away, so it's not a big deal. Oh, look at that. I have a free milestone chat. How cool is that? Hope I don't waste it. Matt wasted it. Whoops. How long is the train ride? I think it's like 4 days in total. Trains are awesome. Enjoy your trip. So yeah, I would say, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, that's a good movie. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and I would say that experiencing a train ride cross country has demonstrated to me all of the great benefits, and also some of the weaknesses. It's definitely not as time effective as flying, and you don't have as much control over where you visit as you do if you were driving. So driving's probably going to be a lot less comfortable because you're not going to have a free dining car and beds that unfold and everything. You got to rent hotels, and driving is you're actually in control of the car. But when you arrive at your destination, you have a means of transportation. You can go wherever you need to go. If you want to visit one part of town, you can go there. You can go there. Whereas the train just kind of stops really quickly. Occasionally, you can step out for a minute and look around, but then you got to go again. Thank you for the super chat, Chris. He says, when are you home? Um, I can't remember. Next week at some point. We have so many trips upon trips going on. So I'm not entirely, I think next week, end of next week. Let's see. Days, I think it's like a 4-day train ride in total. I've never seen a train like that. Here in the UK, they're exactly like planes just on the ground. Yeah. They've just got these big wings with jet engines, except they're on a railroad. Would you recommend an Apple Watch strictly for the ECG and blood oxygen monitoring? I wouldn't say strictly for that. I mean, if that's all you care about, then I guess the Apple Watch is a good method of obtaining those in a reasonably affordable manner, because you can probably find a refurbished Series 5 or Series 6 for sale somewhere for pretty cheap. I don't know if there's another smartwatch that you can get those features for less. There might be. I just don't know what it is. But I use the Apple Watch for so much more than that. Honestly, very rarely use the health features. It's more about drive. It's about power. No, it's about notification management and being able to disconnect more from the phone, because when you get a notification, you know if it's something that you should attend to right away or if you can ignore it. Checking email, I use it for a ton. Pinging my iPhone when I misplace it. Changing volume on AirPods. Using it as a flashlight is really helpful. I just did a video breaking down like the most common things I use for my watch, and health features are not high on my list, honestly. Max says, I have an Apple Watch and all I do is look at the time, so recommend one for anything. Yeah, I did a whole video on that. It was fun, actually, just being able to break down, here's what I use it for. Would you buy an Apple car with 5G super millimeter for the price of a... No, I would not. I would buy an Apple car that intentionally left out 5G if that was a thing. Show the cabin. I don't know. What do you think, hon? Are you awake?
What?
Should I show around the cabin? Or is it too messy?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Show around a little bit, I guess.
Like, I don't really like you.
Louise isn't feeling very camera happy today, so this is my bed. This strap is here because sometimes when the train is moving, it rattles. So if you sleep, you don't want to fall out of the bed. So this strap keeps you from falling out. But this train actually has windows for the top bunk, whereas the last train we were on didn't, which was a bit of a bummer. So if you were on the bottom bunk, you could look out the window as you were sleeping, with your eyes open as we all sleep. That's my asleep face, right? But here's where we are. It's not terribly interesting, but we've got air conditioning over here. Oh, and there's a light. I didn't even notice this. So down here you have a reading light. You just flip it on like that. Don't really need that much because our phones light up. I think there's a smoke detector in here, which is good because you're not supposed to smoke on the train. So they'll catch you right away if you do. Yeah, this is the strap safe. And then over here we have a mirror so you guys can see what you look like. Kitchen sink is down there. And gonna watch the Super Bowl, Drew? I'm not that big into soccer, but thanks for asking. I'm not that big a bowling fan. Super Bowl. That makes more sense. Super Bowl. We've been trying to take a picture at every stop we make, but it's kind of hard when we make stops in the middle of the night. Ah, yes, the reading light. I use it all the time when I read a book on my iPad. They have lots of little storage areas. Let's see if I can flip this around. There's like a net here. This is what all the announcement messages come through on. There's a coat hanger. Actually, don't know if anyone's on the other side of this, but this is a opening to a window. Oh, it's just wood right now. Oh, it's way down here. Yeah, so you can see in like the alleyway.
We're moving.
We're moving? Oh my God, guys. We're in motion. The stream could end at any point now. I'm not sure what the internet's going to be like. So I apologize if the stream ends very abruptly. For those who tuned in and super chatted or became a moderator, thanks for tuning in. We'll see if I can get a little bit of the motion. I don't know. Should I end the stream right now or should I stream until it stops streaming? Not sure how long it'll last. Wow. This will be fun. I don't think I've ever live streamed at a speed like this. Usually we're not moving. Choo choo. Okay. Adith says do it till it stops. I hope it keeps running. What a fun morning. Good morning. Now our time zones are all messed up because we're in the Eastern time zone and I'm used to the Pacific time zone. Man, that's a big train. Check it out. Woo! Choo choo. All right. I'm not sure. Man, we got a lot of sunlight behind us. I want to make sure this lighting is somewhat decent. We're going to New York City, which should be kind of fun. Never been there before. We were just talking a couple months ago. My wife was like, what's a dream location you've always wanted to visit but never have? And I was always like, New York. Amtrak got money for 73 new Charger locomotives, but they found they stall in the snow.
Again, this is train 48 continuing service to New York Penn
Here we
Station
go.
with remaining stations stopped at Bryan Cliff, Poughkeepsie. Final destination, New York Penn Station. All passengers who just boarded at Albany Rensselaer, please have your ticket fountain ready for collection.
We already had our tickets.
Approximately 40 minutes. And as a reminder, at all times while on board, you must wear a face mask covering both your nose and mouth, regardless of vaccination status.
That's correct.
48 to New York Penn, Bryan Cliff, 40 minutes.
All right, we're on the roll again. We've got viewers out there, I'm sure. So thank you for supporting from all over the country, all over the world, actually, which is pretty cool. And there's been probably, maybe we were just spoiled at the beginning of the trip, but there was far better views in Utah and Colorado. Maybe this is better in the fall when the trees have a little bit of leaves on them, or in the summertime, but in the wintertime, this is all kind of dead. Everything's just kind of snowy. Ooh, Jacob says NYC isn't as great as it's made out to be. How much does a cabin like that cost? Do you know, Louise?
What's that?
How much this cost?
What cost?
The cabin?
From California to New York, it was $1,200.
For both of us?
Yeah.
So for two people, $1,200 from California to New York. But keep in mind, that's including your sleeping, it gives you a place to stay, so you don't have to get hotels. It gives you food, so you don't have to pay for meals. Whereas if you were to fly it, it's probably much cheaper, but they're not going to cover housing, and it's not going to be as fun as seeing everywhere you're going. So that's the price you pay for a more intimate view of the country along the way. Switch to back up here. I'm afraid to put the iPhone back where it was because the train likes to vibrate a lot. Attention passengers, only those with iPhone 12 leave the train. Everyone else must use Link. I actually, because I've been doing more streaming off of my phone and we're taking a lot of trips and stuff, I opted for the unlimited data plan on Mint because I'm just using a ton more data. But most people do not need that as much. Ryan Fraley says, where are you now? Well, now I don't know if we're in the same place we were when we stopped. Somewhere on the East Coast. Lots of buildings. We need center stage on the iPhone. That would be kind of nice. I don't think it makes as much sense when the screen is so small, because kind of the concept with center stage is that you can get up and walk around and the camera tracks with you. But if you get up and walk around, although iPad mini is pretty small and that has center stage, so maybe that's an unfair comparison. It totally could be a software feature. The camera on the iPhone's already pretty ultra wide. Catskills Mountain might have better views. Are you riding on the Acela at some point? I don't know what that is, but maybe. I don't think so. Zachary says the blips have begun. I wonder if I'm streaming through the YouTube app. I'm not sure if it's going to give me lag warnings, if it's going to have a notification. Wish I could just get up and go wherever I felt lucky. I'm very blessed, thanks to you guys watching the stream, watching the channel, allowing me to basically work wherever there's an internet connection. That's the Hudson River. I think we already crossed the Hudson River, but maybe we're crossing it a second time. Oh, high-speed line from DC to Boston. I don't believe we're taking that, no. Why not center stage on the foldable line? Reconnect. All right. Stopped for me too. Maybe the end? I'm sure it is, Diane. Back? Now we're saying back? Okay, it might be back briefly, but because I don't know how long it'll be back, I think I should probably just say goodbye now, because it's the last chance I'll have to actually say goodbye. So thank you everyone for your super chats and supporting the channel. Oh yeah, I said foldable and the stream ended. So is the Apple Watch SE worth it in 2022? Absolutely, but look around for a deal. Look for 9 to 5 Toys or Mac Rumors or Best Buy. They're gonna have sales and stuff. So take care all. I'll post my vlogs of my adventures over on Tailosive Talks, and I will see you on the tech world later. There should be a video that drops tomorrow. Bye guys. Bye.